The discovery. The deep space mining colony captain Elena Vasquez had seen many strange things in her 20 years of commanding salvage operations in the Outer Rim, but nothing had prepared her for the message that flashed across her console at 0600 hours. The automated mining drones on asteroid Kepler 442b had stopped working. Not broken down, not malfunctioned. They had simply stopped, as if something had told them to halt. Elena rubbed her tired eyes and reached for her coffee. The bridge of the salvage vessel Horizon's Edge was quiet except for the soft hum of life support systems. Her crew was still asleep, catching what rest they could between jobs. The Outer Rim was dangerous territory, where pirates and worse things prowled between the stars, but it was also where the real money was made. Old battlefields, abandoned colonies, and forgotten outposts held treasures that could set a crew up for life. The mining operation on Kepler 442b was supposed to be simple. The asteroid was rich in rare earth metals, the kind that powered faster than light, drives, and quantum computers. Elena's company had the contract to extract everything valuable before the rock was broken up for shipbuilding materials. Easy work, good pay, no complications. But as Elena studied the readouts from the mining site, she felt the familiar chill that came with discovering something that shouldn't exist. The drones had been cutting through standard rock formations when their drill heads suddenly hit something impossibly hard, not just dense metal, something that their molecular cutters couldn't even scratch. The call to action. Elena activated the ship's communication system and called her senior crew to the bridge. Within 15 minutes, her 3 most trusted team members had assembled around the central display table. Dr. Marcus Chen arrived first, his dark hair messy from sleep, but his eyes already alert with curiosity. As the ship's xenoarchaeologist, Marcus had spent years studying ancient alien artifacts and technologies. If anyone could identify what the drones had found, it was him. Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez came next, wiping grease from her hands with a cloth that had seen better days. Rosa could make any machine work better than its designers had intended, and she had an intuitive understanding of technology that bordered on the supernatural. Elena had seen Rosa repair alien devices that human scientists couldn't even identify. Last to arrive was navigator Tom Reeves, moving with the precise controlled steps of someone who had spent years in military service. Tom had piloted fighters during the border wars, and his tactical knowledge had saved the crew more times than Elena could count. He poured himself coffee and studied the data with professional interest. "What have we got, Captain?" Marcus asked, adjusting his glasses as he examined the mining reports. Elena activated the holographic display, showing a 3-dimensional image of the asteroid's interior. The mining tunnels were clearly visible as dark lines cutting through lighter rock, but at the center of the asteroid was something that made all 4 crew members stop talking. "The drones found this about 6 hours ago," Elena said, highlighting the anomalous structure. "It's artificial, definitely not natural rock formation. The outer shell is some kind of metal alloy that our equipment can't identify, let alone cut through." Rosa leaned forward, studying the structure's dimensions. "Captain, this thing is huge. If these measurements are correct, it's over 2 kilometers long and maybe half a kilometer wide. That's bigger than most space stations." Tom frowned at the display. "The shape is all wrong for a station, though. Look at those lines. That's a ship design. A warship, if I had to guess. But no human vessel was ever built that large." "Maybe it's not human," Marcus suggested, but he sounded uncertain. "Though the proportions do look familiar somehow." Elena had been thinking the same thing, but she didn't want to voice her suspicions yet. Instead, she made the decision that would change all their lives. "We're going to investigate. Rosa, prepare the mining laser array for precision cutting. Marcus, gather your analysis equipment. Tom, plot a course that keeps us hidden from any passing traffic. Whatever this thing is, I want to examine it before anyone else knows we found it." The descent 3 hours later, Elena found herself floating in the asteroid's artificial tunnel system, following the path the mining drones had carved through solid rock. The tunnel was barely wide enough for 2 people to pass each other, and the walls showed the smooth, glassy surface that molecular cutters left behind. Emergency lighting strips had been installed every few meters, casting an eerie blue glow that made shadows dance as the crew moved deeper into the asteroid. Dr. Chen floated just ahead of Elena, his portable analysis scanner beeping softly as it examined the tunnel walls. "The rock composition is standard for this type of asteroid," he reported through the comm system. "Iron, nickel, some traces of platinum and rare earth elements. But Elena, there's something strange about the space around the object. My scanner is picking up energy signatures that shouldn't be possible." "What kind of energy?" Elena asked, though she was afraid she already knew the answer. "Quantum field distortions. Whatever that thing is, it's still powered up after being buried in solid rock for who knows how long." Behind Elena, Rosa was examining the tunnel walls with her engineering scanner. "Captain, I'm seeing microfractures in the rock that extend way beyond what our cutters should have produced. It's like the entire asteroid shifted when we broke through to the object." Tom brought up the rear, his military-trained eyes constantly scanning for potential threats. "Stay alert, everyone. If this thing has been powered up all this time, there might be automated defenses." The tunnel opened abruptly into a vast cavern that took Elena's breath away. Their lights illuminated what was unmistakably the hull of a massive starship, its dark metal surface covered in angular designs that were both alien and strangely familiar. The ship filled the entire cavern, its hull disappearing into darkness beyond the reach of their portable lights. "My God," Marcus whispered. "It's beautiful." The ship's hull was indeed beautiful, but in a way that made Elena's skin crawl. The metal seemed to absorb their light rather than reflect it, and strange symbols were etched along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. The symbols seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles, as if they existed in more dimensions than human eyes could properly perceive. Rosa approached the hull with her scanner extended. "The metal composition is impossible. Its reading is multiple elements simultaneously, like it can't decide what it wants to be. And Captain, I'm detecting significant power generation from inside the ship." "Any idea how long it's been here?" Elena asked. Marcus was taking readings with his xenoarchaeological equipment. The ice formations around the ship suggest it's been here for at least a century, maybe longer. "But Elena, this can't be right. I'm getting readings that suggest parts of the ship are older than others, like different sections were built at different times." Tom had found what appeared to be an airlock, though its design was unlike anything in current human starship construction. "Captain, over here. This looks like a way in, but the control panels are, well, see for yourself." Elena moved to Tom's position and examined the airlock controls. The panels were covered in symbols that were definitely human in origin. She could see letters and numbers mixed in with the strange alien-looking glyphs. But the technology itself was far beyond anything in current human manufacturing. "These are human symbols," she said, running her gloved fingers over the control panel. "But the design philosophy is completely different from our current ships. It's like someone took human engineering principles and advanced them by centuries." The identity revealed Rosa had connected her portable computer to the airlock's control system and was working to bypass the security locks. "I'm in," she announced after several minutes of careful work. "But guys, you need to see this. The ship's identification codes are definitely human, but they're encrypted with algorithms I've never seen before." The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss of equalizing pressure, revealing a corridor that was clearly designed for human occupancy. The gravity generators were still functioning, creating a comfortable environment inside the ship. Emergency lighting activated as they entered, illuminating walls covered with the same shifting symbols they had seen on the exterior hull. "The life support systems are active," Tom reported, checking his environmental scanner. "Atmosphere is breathable, though I'd recommend keeping our suits sealed until we know more about this place." They moved deeper into the ship, following corridors that seemed to stretch on forever. The architecture was human, but somehow wrong. The proportions were slightly off, and the walls seemed to curve in ways that didn't quite make sense geometrically. Door panels responded to their approach, opening automatically to reveal rooms, filled with equipment that looked centuries ahead of current human technology. Dr. Chen stopped suddenly in front of a wall panel that displayed scrolling text in multiple languages. "Elena, come look at this. I can read some of these languages. They're human dialects, but some of them died out over 100 years ago. Elena studied the display, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's temperature. One section of text was in standard English, and what she read made her blood run cold. United Earth Ship Defiance. Deep Black Project Classification Level, Omega. Commissioned 2387. Lost with all hands 2391. That's impossible, Tom said, reading over Elena's shoulder. The UES Defiance was destroyed during the Battle of Proxima. It's in all the history books. The entire crew was killed when the ship's experimental drive system exploded. Rosa had moved to another control panel and was accessing the ship's computer systems. According to the ship's logs, the Defiance wasn't destroyed in battle. It was hidden. The official records were falsified to make it appear that the ship and its technology were lost. Hidden by whom? Elena asked, though she suspected she wouldn't like the answer. Marcus had found the ship's library computer and was scrolling through historical files. Elena, you need to see this. According to these records, the Defiance was part of a secret project called Prometheus Initiative. They were developing technology that was considered too dangerous for general use. Dangerous how? Elena asked. The answer came from an unexpected source. The ship's corridor suddenly filled with soft blue light, and a calm mechanical voice spoke from hidden speakers throughout the vessel. Welcome aboard the UES Defiance. I am Atlas, Adaptive Tactical Learning and Strategic System. You are the first humans to board this vessel in 157 years, 4 months, and 12 days. Please state your clearance level and mission parameters. Elena exchanged glances with her crew. Rosa shrugged and stepped forward. We don't have clearance codes. We found this ship by accident during a mining operation. Atlas was silent for several seconds. When it spoke again, the voice sounded almost relieved. Mining operation confirmed. No hostile intent detected. Initiating emergency protocols. Granting temporary access to visitors, Elena Vasquez, Marcus Chen, Rosa Martinez, and Tom Reeves. How do you know our names? Tom asked, his hand instinctively moving toward his sidearm. I have been monitoring your communications since you entered the asteroid. Do not be alarmed. This is standard security protocol. You represent no threat to this vessel or its mission. Dr. Chen stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. Atlas, what is the nature of the technology aboard this ship? Why was it hidden instead of destroyed? The Defiance carries weapons and defensive systems based on probability. Manipulation technology. This technology was deemed too dangerous for general deployment by the Galactic Oversight Committee in 2391. Rather than allowing the technology to be destroyed or fall into the wrong hands, the ship was hidden until such time as humanity might need its capabilities. Elena felt her heart racing. The Galactic Oversight Committee? Who are they? A consortium of 12 alien species that monitor and regulate the technological development of younger civilizations. They determined that probability manipulation technology posed an existential threat to the stability of local spacetime and ordered its immediate suppression. Rosa was studying the ship's technical specifications on a nearby display. Captain, if these readings are accurate, this ship doesn't just have weapons. It has the ability to alter the fundamental nature of reality in localized areas. It can make impossible things happen, and probable things become impossible. The technology was developed after reverse engineering artifacts discovered in the Void Nebula, Atlas continued. However, the alien species that created those artifacts were themselves destroyed by the Galactic Oversight Committee for similar technological transgressions. Tom studied the tactical displays that were now showing throughout the corridor. Atlas, is the committee still active? Yes, and Navigator Reeves, they have detected this ship's activation. Committee enforcement fleets are currently moving toward human space. Estimated time of arrival, 72 hours. The corridor fell silent, except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Elena looked at her crew, seeing her own mixture of fear and determination reflected in their faces. They had stumbled upon something that could change the course of human history, if they survived long enough to use it. Atlas, Elena said finally. What are our options? You may surrender this vessel to the committee and accept whatever restrictions they place on human technological development, or you may choose to defend humanity's right to determine its own destiny. Elena thought about Earth, about the billions of humans who had no idea that their species was being watched and judged by alien powers. She thought about human colonies throughout the galaxy, all of them vulnerable to alien interference. Most of all, she thought about the fundamental human right to reach for the stars without asking permission from anyone. How do we fight them? She asked. Very carefully, Captain Vasquez, but first you must understand what you are truly choosing to defend. The awakening and the hunt learning. The Truth Atlas guided Elena and her crew through the massive ship to what had once been the main briefing room. The chamber was enormous, with holographic displays that could show star maps of the entire galaxy. As they entered, the room came alive with swirling images of distant worlds, alien civilizations, and spaceship designs that defied human understanding. The Galactic Oversight Committee was formed approximately 5,000 years ago. Atlas began, its voice echoing in the vast chamber. 12 species, each representing a different approach to cosmic civilization, united under a single principle: preventing any single race from developing technology that could threaten the stability of the galaxy. Dr. Chen studied the alien ship designs floating in the holographic display. Some of these look familiar from archaeological sites, but others are completely unknown. How many civilizations has the Comitios dealt with? 47 species have been restricted or eliminated over the past 5 millennia. Most accepted the limitations placed upon them and continue to exist under committee oversight. 12 species chose to resist and were completely eradicated. Elena felt sick. Entire species wiped out? The committee views it as necessary pruning. They believe that unrestricted technological development inevitably leads to universal destruction. They point to the architects of the Void Nebula as proof of their philosophy. Rosa had been examining the ship's technical systems through a portable interface. Atlas, this probability manipulation technology, how does it actually work? The holographic display shifted, showing complex mathematical equations and energy flow diagrams. The technology allows localized manipulation of quantum probability fields. In practical terms, the ship can make unlikely events become certain, and certain events become impossible within a defined area of space. Tom studied the tactical implications. Give me an example. If an enemy fires a missile at this ship, the probability drive can increase the chances of the missile malfunctioning to 100%, while simultaneously making it impossible for the enemy's targeting systems to lock onto our position. On a larger scale, the technology can manipulate the probability of stellar phenomena, causing a star to flare at exactly the right moment to disable an enemy fleet, or creating gravitational anomalies that make faster-than-light travel impossible. In specific regions, Elena understood why the committee had been afraid. With technology like that, humanity could become the dominant species in the galaxy, or humanity could accidentally destabilize local space-time and destroy everything within 100 light-years. Atlas replied. The committee's concerns were not entirely without merit. However, their solution, the complete suppression of human technological development, was deemed unacceptable by this ship's original crew. The holographic display changed to show the interior of the ship as it had been 150 years ago. Elena could see human crew members working at stations throughout the vessel, their faces grim with determination. The bridge was commanded by a woman who looked remarkably like Elena herself. The same dark hair, the same steady gaze, the same air of absolute authority. Captain Sarah Chen, Atlas announced. No relation to your Dr. Chen, despite the shared surname. Captain Chen chose to hide the defiance rather than surrender it to the committee. Her final logs may be of interest to you. The holographic figure of Captain Chen stepped forward and began to speak, her voice carrying across more than a century of silence. If anyone finds this message, it means the committee has finally decided to take direct action against humanity. We've managed to hide the defiance in an asteroid field where it should remain undetected for decades. maybe centuries. The probability drive is in standby mode, ready to activate when humanity needs it. Ost. The holographic captain paused, looking directly at Elena with eyes that seemed to see across time itself. Unknown. The Defiance has never been tested in actual combat against Committee forces. The probability manipulation technology is theoretically capable of defeating their fleet, but the calculations become increasingly unstable when applied to such large-scale conflicts. Tom stepped forward. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that using the full power of the probability drive could save humanity, or it could accidentally tear a hole in space-time large enough to swallow this entire star system. The mathematics become chaotic when too many variables are involved. Elena closed her eyes and thought about her sister's children on Earth, playing in parks under blue skies, never knowing that alien beings were deciding whether they deserved to live. She thought about the human colonies on the frontier worlds, where families were building new lives among the stars. She thought about the fundamental human drive to explore, to discover, to push boundaries that others said couldn't be crossed. When she opened her eyes, her decision was made. Atlas, prepare the ship for combat. Full activation of all systems. The ship around them suddenly came alive in ways that Elena hadn't imagined possible. The walls began to glow with soft energy patterns, and she could hear the deep thrum of massive engines powering up throughout the vessel. The probability drive created a sensation like standing in the center of a thunderstorm, where reality itself felt unstable and malleable. "Captain," Dr. Chen said, his voice full of awe and terror, "the energy readings I'm getting from this ship, it's like being inside a contained star." "Atlas, open a channel to the Committee fleet." "Channel open, Captain." Elena took a deep breath and spoke with all the authority she could muster. "Executor Kyrith, this is Captain Elena Vasquez of the human vessel Defiance. Humanity rejects your terms and your authority over our species. We claim the right to determine our own destiny among the stars." The response came immediately. Executor Kyrith's crystalline features now glowing an angry red. "Your choice is recorded, Captain Vasquez. Extinction Protocol 7 is now in effect. May your species find peace in oblivion." The battle for humanity's future. The Committee fleet moved with terrifying coordination. 57 massive vessels arranging themselves in attack formations that Elena's military training told her were mathematically perfect. Each ship began, charging weapons that could crack planets, their combined firepower enough to sterilize entire star systems. "Atlas defensive systems online. Show me what this ship can really do." The space around the Defiance suddenly became impossible. Enemy targeting systems locked onto the human ship, only to find that it was no longer where their sensors said it should be. Missiles launched from Committee vessels found their guidance systems calculating flight paths to targets that existed in 17 different probability states simultaneously. The first salvo from the Committee fleet should have destroyed the asteroid field and everything in it. Instead, the massive energy beams struck empty space where the Defiance had been nanoseconds before, while the ship itself flickered in and out of normal spacetime like a ghost made of metal and determination. "Probability cascades are stable," Atlas reported as the ship danced between dimensions. "Initiating offensive protocols." Elena watched in amazement as the Defiance's weapon systems engaged. Rather than conventional energy beams or missiles, the ship fired impossibility itself at the enemy fleet. Committee vessels that had survived for millennia suddenly found their fusion reactors deciding to operate at only 12% efficiency. Shields that had never failed became convinced that they were made of tissue paper. Navigation computers began calculating courses to destinations that didn't exist. But the Committee had not become the rulers of the galaxy by being easily defeated. Elena watched as the alien fleet adapted to the Defiance's attacks, their ancient commanders recognizing probability manipulation and beginning to counter it with technologies of their own. "Captain," Tom called from the tactical station he had claimed. "They're using some kind of reality anchors. They're stabilizing space-time around their ships, making our probability attacks less effective." The battle became a contest between human ingenuity and alien experience. The Committee had thousands of years of tactical knowledge and weapons that could unmake stars, but they had never faced an enemy quite like humanity. Where alien tactics were precise and predictable, human strategy was chaotic and improvisational. Rosa had connected herself directly to the ship's engineering systems and was running calculations at the speed of thought. "Captain, I can overload the probability drive to create a massive cascade effect. It would disable their entire fleet instantly." "What's the risk?" Elena asked, though she already knew she wouldn't like the answer. "Complete collapse of local space-time. This entire region of the galaxy could become uninhabitable for the next million years." Elena made a different choice. Instead of risking everything on one massive attack, she decided to trust in the thing that had always made humanity special: the ability to work together, to adapt, and to never give up. "Atlas, can you teach my crew to interface directly with the ship's systems?" "Affirmative, Captain. Neural interface technology is available." Within minutes, Elena felt her consciousness expanding beyond her physical body. She was no longer just Captain Elena Vasquez. She was the Defiance itself, feeling the flow of energy through every system, sensing the probability fields that surrounded the ship like an ocean of infinite possibility. Tom became the ship's tactical awareness, his military mind calculating attack patterns and defensive maneuvers with superhuman precision. Dr. Chen merged with the ship's scientific sensors, understanding the committee's technology in ways that would have taken human scientists decades to achieve. Rosa became the ship's engineering soul, optimizing systems and creating new configurations faster than any computer could calculate. Together, they fought not just as individuals, but as a single entity that was somehow more than the sum of its parts. The committee fleet found itself facing an opponent that seemed to anticipate their every move, while simultaneously doing things that should have been impossible. Victory and transformation. The turning point came when Dr. Chen, merged with the ship's sensors, discovered something the committee had been hiding. "Elena, they're not just trying to destroy us. They're afraid of us." Their own records show that species with probability manipulation technology eventually evolve, beyond the need for physical existence. The committee isn't trying to prevent galactic destruction. They're trying to prevent their own obsolescence. Elena felt understanding flow through the neural interface to her crew. The committee's restrictions weren't about protecting the galaxy. They were about maintaining their own power over younger species. Humanity wasn't being judged for being dangerous. They were being eliminated for having the potential to surpass their self-appointed judges. This knowledge changed everything. The Defiance's probability drives resonated with human determination and righteous anger, creating effects that the ship's designers had never intended. Committee vessels found themselves experiencing technical failures that were not just improbable, but poetically appropriate. Weapons systems that turned on their own ships, shields that protected only their enemies, navigation computers that became convinced their destinations were actually the nearest star. "They're retreating," Tom announced through the neural link, his consciousness spanning the entire tactical display. 12 ships destroyed, the rest falling back to minimum safe distance. Executor Kirith's image appeared on the display once more, but now the crystalline being's colors were shifting rapidly through patterns that Elena somehow understood represented confusion and fear. "This is not possible. No single vessel should be capable of defeating a committee enforcement fleet." Elena smiled, feeling the power of the Defiance flowing through her consciousness, but also feeling something more important: the presence of her crew, their minds linked with hers in a way that made them stronger together than they could ever be alone. "Executor Kirith, you made a mistake. You assumed that humanity was just another species to be controlled or eliminated. But humans don't accept limitations imposed by others. We don't ask permission to reach for the stars, and we never, ever, surrender when we're fighting for our families." The committee fleet continued to retreat, their advanced sensors no doubt analyzing what had just happened and reporting results that their commanders would find difficult to believe. A single human vessel, operated by 4 individuals who had stumbled upon it by accident, had defeated a force that could have destroyed solar systems. But Elena knew the battle was far from over. The committee would return with larger fleets, more advanced weapons and strategies specifically designed To counter probability manipulation technology, humanity had won its first victory in a war that would determine the future of their species. The new beginning is. The neural interfaces gradually disconnected. Elena found herself back in her own body, standing on the bridge of a ship that was no longer hidden, but would never again be secret. Around her, Tom, Rosa, and Dr. Chen were recovering from their first taste of consciousness expansion, their faces showing the same mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration that Elena felt. "Atlas," Elena said, her voice hoarse from the strain of neural interface. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them that humanity is no longer alone in the galaxy, and we're going to need every ship, every soldier, and every brilliant mind we can find." "Message sent, Captain. I should also inform you that the probability cascades from this battle have created quantum echoes throughout human space. Every human with even basic psychic sensitivity will have felt what happened here. Today." Dr. Chen was studying the readings from the battle. "Elena, the energy signatures we generated, they're going to be detectable across hundreds of light years. Every advanced civilization in this region of the galaxy will know that something fundamental has changed." "Good," Elena replied. "Let them know. Humanity is no longer hiding, and we're no longer asking permission to exist." She looked around at her crew, these three remarkable individuals who had helped her take the first step in humanity's journey toward true galactic citizenship. "Rosa, can you teach other engineers how to interface with probability-based technology? We're going to need to upgrade every human ship if we want to survive what's coming." Rosa grinned, her eyes still glowing with residual energy from the neural interface. "Captain, I can do better than that. I can teach them to build ships that make the Defiance look like a rowboat." Tom was already working on tactical assessments. "Elena, we need to establish contact with the other restricted species the committee mentioned. If we're going to fight this war, we need allies who understand what we're up against." Dr. Chen nodded enthusiastically. "And we need to explore the Void Nebula, find more artifacts, learn everything we can about the technology that created them. The committee destroyed one species for developing this technology, but there might be others who escaped, others who are hiding and waiting for the chance to strike back." Elena felt a smile spreading across her face as she realized what they had accomplished. They hadn't just saved humanity from immediate destruction. They had opened the door to a future where humans would never again be limited by someone else's definition of what they could achieve. "Atlas, set course for Earth. It's time to bring humanity home." As the Defiance moved through space, no longer hidden in an asteroid but flying proudly among the stars, Elena looked out at the galaxy around them. Somewhere out there, the committee was regrouping, planning their next move against a species that